A time comes in the life of every race when people are driven by echoes of the past to chart a course for an exalted future. Africa is a blessed threshold, as major actors in the Africa arena plot a renaissance towards common destiny. Let's pedal across the streams of yesterday, from the backstreets of Africa to the defining roles of policymakers, the political realities of the African nation, balance of power, and the strive to sustain national interest and identity. Join us on Network Africa on Channels Television. Network Africa, the rallying point for the emergence of a new Africa.
On Network Africa this week, our focus is on health, music, protests, empowerment, and celebrating progress. First up, the Ebola virus disease is still the word on everyone's lips, and the United Nations warns that women are at greater risk of getting infected.
That women are particularly at risk, partly because of their role as healers, partly because of their role as carers in the home, and partly because also they are most involved in household activities, and this puts them at particular risk of getting infected.
Still talking Ebola, various West African artists lend their voices to bring the stigmatization of the region to an end.
It was important for me to give hope to my people and to participate in a project with Tikenja, with Salif Keita, Mowai Kante, all of them, Amadou and Mariam. For me, it's really important to show solidarity with my people.
Also on the program, days after the murder of 28 Kenyans in the capital Nairobi, a protest takes place outside of the president's office.
Whatever we are witnessing right now in this nation is the opposite. They are guaranteeing us of insecurity. You cannot walk in the streets of Nairobi or in the corners of this country without fearing for your life. Insecurity has become key.
And days before the death anniversary of the late Nelson Mandela, a symbol of hope for all South Africans for their future is set up to celebrate how far the country has come after apartheid. Hello and welcome to another episode of Network Africa with me, Cynthia Are. Topping the news without question this week is still the Ebola virus disease. Countries are still taking intense measures to contain the spread of the killer virus. But the aspect which is topping the news today is the fact that the United Nations has issued a new warning saying that women are at an even higher risk of being infected by the virus for the reasons which you'll see and hear in this next report.
As the Ebola outbreak continues to spread in parts of West Africa, with the current death toll, 8 agencies warn of the impact the virus is having on women. Analysts at the World Food Programme, WFP, say frontline responders have been struck by the Ebola disease, irrespective of gender, but that women as primary caregivers for those affected by Ebola shoulder the bulk of the burden and infections. According to the latest UNICEF figures, the rate of infection for women in Liberia, for example, stands at 75%.
There are some reports that in the countries affected by the Ebola outbreak, that women are particularly at risk, partly because of their role as healers, partly because of their role as carers in the home, and partly because also they are most involved in household activities, and this puts them at particular risk of getting infected.
Hawanatu Kamara is an Ebola survivor who lost 3 members of her family. 2 children were just released from the hospital, having recovered from the virus.
Go in the hospital, we know the work go far. We no more inside, we go lay down our bed there. So right now, work in my house, I cook, I pass na the area, they feel fine.
WFP has scaled up its response to the Ebola virus to provide assistance to around 1 million people affected by the outbreak in Guinea, Liberia and Sierra Leone, delivering food alongside the health response. WFP is using innovative methods, including cell phone surveys, to assess how the Ebola outbreak is disrupting farming and markets and eroding people's purchasing power to help prevent this health crisis from becoming a food and nutrition crisis.
Good nutrition is a key requirement to enable people to be strong and to fight against the impact of Ebola on their health.
Global health company Merck & Co. Incorporated announced on Monday, November 23rd, that it would buy worldwide commercial rights to New Link Genetics Corps' experimental vaccine against the Ebola virus as drug makers race to test and scale up production of treatments and preventive vaccines for the disease. Meanwhile, the United Nations Mission for Ebola Emergency Response said it will not fully meet its December 1 target for containing the virus due to escalating numbers of cases in Sierra Leone.
We will not be able to reach the target on 1st December, but we are very confident that the strategy is effective, is working, and in time we'll be able to make the target. We have to make sure that the quarantines are effective. We have to make sure that we keep still educating people a lot about what they can and cannot do. We still believe that people are engaging in practices that are not necessarily conducive to breaking the transmission. So although the beds are the most physical manifestation of where we are shot, there are other aspects also that will be useful.
The mission sets the goal in September of having 70% of Ebola patients under treatment and 70% of victims safely buried. However, that target will be achieved only in some areas.
Now, many groups and individuals are doing their parts to reduce the spread of the Ebola virus disease to the barest minimum. Such individuals and groups include the top African musicians who launched a new song to fight the outbreak by giving advice on what steps to take in affected countries. But despite their seemingly good intentions, they were slammed by critics.
Some of Africa's top musicians launched on Monday, November the 24th, an alternative Ebola appeal song to Band-Aid's new recording of Do They Know It's Christmas, with proceeds also going to fight the virus that has killed more than 5,000 people in parts of West Africa this year.
But say a prayer and pray for the other ones at Christmas time.
Outside the window, and it's a world of dread and fear, where a kiss of love can kill you, and there's death in every tear, and the Christmas bells that ring there are the clanging chimes of doom. Well, tonight we'll reach in out and touching you. Christmas to West Africa.
Despite reaching number 1 in the UK charts, Bob Geldof's Do They Know It's Christmas song has been slammed by critics who say the rewritten lyrics, including Christmas bells that clang tunes of doom and a world of dread and fear where a kiss of love can kill you, are an insult to Africans. By contrast, Africa Stop Ebola, sung in French and local languages, including Malinke, Suso, Kisi, and Lingala, uses a mixture of rap and melodies that are distinctive to West Africa to urge people to take Ebola seriously and go to a doctor if they're ill. Recorded by Malian Salif Keita, Umu Sangari, and Duo Amadou and Miriam, Guinean Mori Conte, Congolese Barbara Kanam, and Senegalese rapper Didier Awadi, among others. The song also wants people to wash their hands, avoid shaking hands with others, and to refrain from touching dead bodies.
It's not an African tragedy. So it was important for me to give hope to my people and to participate in a project with Tikanja, with Salif Keita, Mori Kante, all of them, Amadou and Mariam. For me, it's really important to show solidarity with my people.
We need the information to reach everywhere, because I think that art and culture is the shortest route to communicate with those villagers so that they understand the importance of being able to avoid this scourge. Tikanja Fakoli, a renowned Ivorian musician who has rallied other artists to raise awareness about Ebola, said he was taught by TV images of people in quarantine in the worst affected countries, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea. It is not easy to believe politicians. They will tell young people to believe them, but we don't really believe in politicians in the first place. So it is easier to believe the artists because artists are close to the ghettos. They are listened to in the suburbs and everywhere else. Ebola, a rare tropical disease, is spread through direct contact with infected bodily fluids such as blood, sweat, and vomit. The virus has infected over 15,000 people in the region since it was first reported in Guinea in March, according to the World Health Organization. Although the number of cases in Liberia appears to be falling, Sierra Leone and Guinea are witnessing a steep rise in the number of people who are newly infected. Mali is currently fighting its second outbreak. According to the song's producers, 3D Family, Africa Stop Ebola has sold 250,000 copies since its unofficial release earlier this month, with all proceeds going to medical charity Médecins Sans Frontières. The launch marks the beginning of a December campaign using song merchandise, including T-shirts, flyers, posters, a video with English subtitles, and a social media campaign to show people how the virus can be stopped.